I was so not as prepared for that as I thought I was going to be. Hello, hello, as we all pop onto the screen magically.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yes.
What's up, guys?
It's good to see everybody tonight. I'm so excited to be with you guys. Well, okay then.
All right.
Hello there.
We're glad
Hello
to see
there.
you too, Van. Ark. Sorry.
Hello, Belle. At least Belle appreciates us being here. And all right.
I appreciate.
Hey,
I was giving you my little happy dance. This is happy.
I was doing my
I
ta-da.
can actually move my shoulders this week.
Okay, hey, so Phoenix, you know what you're gonna help me direct. You're gonna help me with the comments. Make sure all the comments hit the screen and that people get answered because I can't see anything right now.
Okie dokie artichoke.
Fun fact: I went and got my first eye exam today.
Oh, your first eye exam. What do you mean
Yeah.
first eye exam?
Well, like I've never actually gone to see if I need like glasses or anything like that. So the whole process of them like taking pictures of my retinas and like doing the whole chart and everything. The only charts I've ever had to read were for like the DMV. So it was good to actually go in because like lately I have been having trouble like, kind of focusing. It feels like sometimes. But after today, she's like, yeah, you actually have really excellent vision, and like there's a slight acute prescription I can give you, but honestly, like you don't have to. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe one day I'll turn into my mother for real, and get reading glasses.
He glitches out, Van, when you start to do the changing screens. Let's try keep it and see if that fixes it for a minute.
For Anthony's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony. I think you're in a sensitive place there with your internet, so I guess we're trying different things with yours. So how is everything?
Sucks.
How is everything going with the show Wednesday nights? Anthony?
Oh, this last week was really good. We actually had a good little group of people all come in like at the same time. I'm seeing some more people from when I promoted at the Pints for Pride event. And then we had a good lineup. Like the music was solid. The only thing that kept screwing up is my microphone randomly would die. And the first time it happened, it was mid-song. I was singing something live, and like halfway through, all of a sudden, I know there's no sound coming out of this microphone, and I just started belting the entire rest of the number. Thank you, Belle. I love this hat. I feel very much like Louise Belcher. It's one of those things. I'm sorry.
Technology hates you.
Technology does hate me. I always say that's my mutant powers. Like I would have the ability to like just make something glitch for no good goddamn reason. Cyborg and Iron Man are fucked around me.
Power. Judo's older brother.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever seen Good Omens? There's a character that can ruin any computer in there, and he saves the world doing it.
Funny.
So how is everybody else doing tonight? We've got Phoenix. For those that have been around Kyber Cave for any amount of time, I'm sure you know Phoenix from here or from many other shows that she does.
Numerous.
Numerous. I mean, you're all over the place.
Yeah.
You're like a whore for podcasts.
I was like, don't say it.
Yeah. This is Kyber Cave After Dark, damn it. We go hard here.
If it makes you feel better, I dress like a whore for fun.
Okay.
All right.
I might be one and just pretend I'm not.
Well, I mean, OnlyFans is everywhere.
Wow.
Hi, Belle. It's good to see you. Gosh, when are we going to see you, Belle? I never see you.
Other than on all the shows.
Yeah.
When we get some live events going, hopefully we'll get around people again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it is good to see you guys, David, Anthony, Ark, Tony, and Art Force XF Saber Sounds. It is so good to see all of you.
Woo. I'm excited
Good
about.
to see
I
you
want to
too.
give a special shout out to my boy Tony in the upper court. This is like Brady Bunch, dun 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 dun. And the box right above me, my boy Tony. This is my homie from the way back. Dude, I'm so and like I haven't seen like Tony in years. So to have him here, I am super excited about. I have a poem like still have a poem picture on my phone of us spitting a poem together from the way
Long
back in
time
the
ago.
long time ago. So, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, son. I'm real good. Just out here living.
You're like Carmen San Diego, dude. Where in the world are you right now?
Yeah, I know. I'd be moving around a little bit. So, after I left Puerto Rico, I moved to Reno.
Oh, so
Nice.
you're right up the road.
Yeah, I'm right around the corner.
Oh, well, damn, dude. We have a store about an hour from you that has like a bunch of our Kyber Cave products out there called Five Titans. It's a comic book store. Yeah, and we're actually going to be coming out to a con arena, so I got to hook up. I didn't realize you were that close again.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
man, holler at me anytime,
Yeah.
brother.
So I was I mean, you're my homie like from the way back. Like I said, we used to spit spoken word poetry together. But I found out, I heard a nasty little rumor that you were into spooky stories and podcasts.
Ooh, I love them.
Yeah,
Yay.
man. It's been about I want to say 8 years now that we've been running our podcast. Get Out the Room. It's a horror movie horror in general. From a Black perspective, as Black dudes on there talking about horror from our particular perspective. And I am a bloody mess on that show. Like it's just, and I may become a bloody mess on this one, so you might regret this.
We
I'm
never
already regretting it. I'm regretting it.
Is that new movie coming out called Nope? Is that the one?
Yes,
Oh,
I
yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see
super
that.
excited.
Does
I am
look good.
I am super excited. What do you know about that one? Do you know anything? You got any inside scoop on Nope?
I mean, I can tell you what it's about.
What is
Because,
it
I mean,
about?
even that is really like has been kind of hidden under wraps, right? I mean, he's giving you little clues as to what it's about, but and then with Jordan Peele, there's the face sort of what it's about, and then there's the underlying message of what's going on.
Yeah, he's really good at subtext. So but basically what the scuttlebutt around town is that this is a alien abduction story, again told from the perspective of Black folks, and I fully expect this to be either by imagery or by subtext to be related to the the slave trade, being like completely abducted out of your natural environment and forced into a new one and figure out how to make that work. Could be wrong, but I'm not off.
Shit, here this
So
entire
we'll see.
time I thought it was about the Skinwalker Ranch. Damn it! I thought we were going to get some Native American frontier subtext. Never mind.
I have
We might
loved-
still. These
Maybe
stories
it's
are
a
all
blend of the
interconnected.
two.
Yeah, intersectionality is a real thing, brother. Like we could get a little bit of all of it in there.
I have really loved the idea of an all Black horror movie because it really like destroys the tropes that you normally see, right?
That's what we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I personally I don't have. Oh man, I should have got all these pops around me. My Jordan Peele pop is in the other room. I personally love Jordan Peele because like I've often said, I think the problem that some of mainstream America has, say with some Black movies, is that they can't relate to being Black, right? But Jordan Peele has taken just an everyday situation. It can be any family, but this family is Black, right? So it's not really about being Black. It's just that this is happening to a Black family. And I think that has made him so much more, appealable to a bigger audience than some other directors.
Well, I mean, the way that most horror movies go is that whenever there's a black guy, you're gonna be like, oh no, he's dead first. Like, he's so gone, and then it's
For
gonna
LL Cool J.
and then it's gonna be the annoying girl next, and she's gonna get murdered horribly. And
But
then
then it's always the slut. There's always the two people having sex somewhere, and they're the third targets. Gavin in the Woods did a real good job pointing all that shit out.
So like a black horror movie is like, who dies first? I have no idea.
The token white guy.
Maybe I'd love to see that.
It's our turn, damn it.
Wow.
Yeah, the stupid college boy is gonna, with the turnaround cap, he's gonna die first.
The thing that always struck me about that, in particular, what we're talking about, the difficulty with white audiences, like identifying with black folks, like, I'm a hardcore nerd. Like, my dad gave me my first comic book when I was 8. Like, I'm a hardcore generational nerd. And like, I have had to identify with, white folks my whole life, in particular when it comes to genre, science fiction, horror, fantasy. It's usually white faces. And so it always kind of puzzled me that it's so hard to do the other way around.
Yeah.
Right. No, that makes sense. I had when I was out on their Saber Rattle show, I had Age Scott was a comic book artist. He's a black comic book artist, and we were talking about what he thought of authors like Stan Lee and some of these other people who created characters like Black Panther. Does it feel like a sort of an appropriation, or is that what was needed in order for black voices to later be heard, within the comic book industry? Unfortunately, sometimes in history, it does take, it takes a white man.
I like how we started and we immediately went off topic. Discussion about food. Let's talk about the deep-rooted subcultures of the extreme race.
I don't even think we started the topics.
No.
Damn it! I know So I'm like, we're veering off into a completely left field, and it's gonna be like, it's 9:45 and we're starting.
Good night, guys.
I was
happened
before
before, it
we were
can
off
happen
the
again.
rails, but I don't feel like we was ever on the rails.
Or David just sitting in the corner going like, they're gonna remember I'm here, right?
So
I just sit back and listen to it all, and when I feel that there's something worth saying, I'll say it.
Right.
Well, hi, David. How are you? We like you too.
David, you're here.
I love you guys too.
All right, guys, I'm going to put.
Yeah, I'm here.
Our first. Oops. Whoa, I'm moving it all over the crazy place. It's going to put up our first topic, and then I started moving.
I just realized that my evil witch hair, my Agatha all along hair, is like showing, and then
I will say that we'll have to put a pin in what you were asking Tony for the second topic. I think that's a good place we could come back to and be like, so as we were saying.
All right. So our first topic tonight, and a lot of times, especially if I'm not the one that came up with the idea, I like other people to jump in and talk about
Where's
it.
my apple? I could be the asshole.
This is Forrest. This is a perfect place for you to jump in, my friend.
I feel triggered by this one.
You feel triggered?
I'm triggered.
Forrest, why don't you tell everybody in the audience first off what you did this weekend besides say hello there 765,000 times.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do
so
it.
I was at MegaCon Orlando yesterday.
And was it mega?
Do it.
It was freaking great. My one of my best friends and his daughter and my son got to meet Sean Schemmel. So they got a picture with Goku and it was great.
Oh,
that is
Kamehameha
dope.
with him and everything. So they only waited 2.5 hours in that line. Meanwhile, I'm walking around the entire con and people are all like, "Oh my god, can I take a picture with you?" I'm like, "Hello there, of course you can. Come right over here." It was freaking awesome.
Dude.
So
Yeah, dude, everybody's excited for Obi-Wan. This is the time, dude.
absolutely. Anyway,
So I noticed I saw your saber was on your hip. Did you not have your blade, or did you have your
no,
blade and just not?
no, and they were hardcore checking props at the door, and there were folks walking around the con, with blades and everything. And before I knew it, I had my bag in one hand, I had my phone in the other hand. I had limited pocket space. I'm like, you know what? If I put a blade in the saber, no. I was more focused on enjoying the con, as opposed to walking around with a lit blade.
Right.
It'd be kind of hard to hide it. You go out and see somebody, they're like, is that a saber in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Why not both? Hey, Forrest, why don't you tell everybody what this topic eventually started off as? Because I think you were the originator here on this one, right?
Yeah. 1 second. I'm so sorry. So I'm somebody who has and continues to struggle with food. I've, in the past, I want to say in the past 2 years, I've lost 63 pounds. And
Nice.
I'm continuing to work on it and at one point it was about the physical. It was about, I want to have a 6-pack of abs, or I want to be muscular. I want to get cut. And now it's just, I just want to get my lab numbers right. Seriously.
Right.
And spoiler alert, I've even gone through some therapy, just because of my job, but somewhere along the way in there, food became a heavy topic. But yeah, I've noticed, there are behaviors that we can identify as it relates to food, and the first word we see, enjoyment. We eat for enjoyment. Like somebody graduates high school, you get married.
Every time there's a celebration.
Yeah, you celebrate. You celebrate. What do? You go out to dinner. You go out to lunch.
Actually,
you pick something up on your way home. How many of you guys that's sitting right there right now have something at your desk that you're munching on?
I have my coffee next to me.
I already ate it.
I just finished a half rack of ribs.
Oh,
dang.
So jealous.
To be fair, I want to say somewhere I heard that an apple and celery are the 2 things you can eat that have like a calorie deficit for how it burns in your body.
Here's what I've been.
Quote me on it. I think that is.
Here's what I've been doing is because I've been having a lot of my. Let's watch Anthony eat, shall we? Yeah. One thing that I've been doing.
ASMR.
I know, right? One thing I've been doing, because I've been really trying to lose weight again during COVID, because I was really thin in college. I was captain of my archery team. I did rowing. I jogged every day. Like I would get my 10,000 steps in before breakfast, and then go eat breakfast, and then go for my run, and then come home and row, and then go to class, and then like go running again. I was so active. And then I didn't have a car, so I walked everywhere, and that wasn't even included in my steps that I strived for every day. Yeah. Because I live
like punishment.
I live downtown, so I got everywhere either through Uber or train. And I loved it because I was a journalist and I was running everywhere, and I was also working in film. And but I noticed after I graduated that things just got kind of slow. You get a job, I got married. I was like, my life just kind of slowed down. I started to gain weight. Then COVID hit, and then you really pack on the pounds because you go, what do I do? Nom, right? So the one thing that I've been doing in the past year is, and that I've been really working on, is every time I want to snack, I do this instead, because often your body, when it says, please put sugar in me, it really is saying, please nourish me. So that's what I've been really trying to do, is hydrate.
Have you ever tried putting chia seeds in your water?
No.
So they are actually a wonderful superfruit. Or superfood, whatever. And chia seeds are really easy to obtain. You can get a lot of them that are like GMO free and completely organic. And really what it is that you just throw some in your water, and then they kind of expand like little mini boba balls. So it's a weird texture thing, don't get me wrong. But I guess they're super rich in antioxidants and potassium and especially fiber. And it's also one of those things that helps make you kind of not feel as hungry as often because it's kind of filling up your gut as you're doing it. But it's giving you like healthy gut energy versus like, processed foods and whatnot. I got really into it when I was getting ready for my pageant because I really wanted to slim down and like, compete with the 20-something snatch girls because I got a decade on them. And they pushed me into a plus size category anyway after I got there. And I'm like, I didn't apply for this and I didn't lose 15 pounds to be in it. And now I'm a little offended, but it was to make sure everyone could go to Portland, which I'm still on the fence about. But I would recommend that to anybody who's trying to incorporate more water or wants to try to cut back on something, because it's a way of not having to constantly feel like you're hungry and you're giving your body something that like really is good for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can totally second that. I throw chia, I'm Southern, I'm from the South, and so my starch of choice is rice. But I throw chia in my rice. I throw chia if I'm making gravy. I throw chia in my gravy.
Yeah.
Like
you can put it in salads. You can put it in everything.
Yes, I put it in everything. It's super satiating.
It's like Frank's Red Hots.
I still do my I still keep my Pop-Tarts next to me, and because like I'll do occasional snacking, especially when I'm noticing that I'm hangry. And I hide little things, but it's a bad habit. It's sort of like, I think sweets are like a smoking addiction. I have to cut it. It's just.
I mean, you say that.
Mine is potatoes. Potatoes of any kind, chips especially, fries. Like if you tell me what do I want, chili cheese fries is 9 times out of the 10 the answer. Anything with fried potatoes or mashed potatoes. I love potatoes. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. Like sometimes you have to have those things though. Like if you're just like, I can never have Skittles again, like I would cry.
Yeah, I think there's a problem with food and our relationship to food in this country in general. Anyways, my mom had diabetes, and she was probably the healthiest eater I knew. She was from Vietnam. She was from the motherland, so she ate a lot of soups and a lot of fish and natural things. If she wanted something sweet, she would have fruit. As she didn't really eat cake, or she might have a soda like once every couple of weeks or something like that. But she still got diabetes because of all the rice. Like in every single meal, there was something rice, whether it was rice itself or
I didn't know rice could do that.
Absolutely.
Well, it breaks down into sugar if you think about it. And so,
who says that?
So she was. What was that?
Ow!
Oh, baby. Okay.
What?
I don't think it was me.
Hello.
Not me.
Yeah, I muted myself. I don't know what that was. Is it Morse code? Is it the aliens? Nope.
They're coming.
Ark, I think it's you.
What just happened?
Mute.
Yep.
It's you, brother.
Damn.
Ark,
I couldn't even hear anything. What was going
You're
on?
doing there's a high-pitched noise in your mic.
Okay, hold on. Okay. And I'm gonna go handle that. Hold on.
Okay. We'll keep
Hold it tonight,
talking.
Batman.
Okay, so actually, while I've got everybody on the screen, raise your hand if you come from a family background that's well known for eating and food being really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I like the hesitation of these two over here. Just like, maybe. I do love my grandma. Like,
I love my grandma. No.
It depends on what you're talking about. You said culture with tasty food.
Yeah.
I mean, American cuisine. I love steak. I mean, that's pretty tasty food as far as I'm concerned.
American cuisine is an interesting term.
It's also a very used term by medical professionals to really more or less let people know that they need to stay away from it. It's this American cuisine. It's the way you Americans eat. It's
hot
the reason why
dogs, processed foods, everything that's poison. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The
Yes.
American
Well,
diet's kind of
God.
scary.
Like-
I think you nailed it with the process because
Yeah.
50
Synthetic.
years ago you've seen pictures of your grandparents. Well, for y'all, probably your grandparents. For me, my parents. But yeah, everybody was thin, and that's because stuff wasn't packed with.
No.
Oh, I
Preservative.
can see the difference in them between then and now. I mean, people were a lot thinner 50 years ago. It was
They were also a lot shorter. I'm not gonna lie. You look at houses from the 40s around here. I'm like, what Oompa Loompa lived in this
Hormones.
place? The shower curtain goes to here.
Hormones are in literally everything.
I'm just saying, like, the way that we process and package our foods now, when food became an industry as opposed to a way to feed your family, things changed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so did our portion sizes. Like,
Yes.
I feel like that's where it really started to explode, is that like we got to a point where we have these massive plates of food because that's the deal. And because it's processed, because you can keep it longer, you can afford to do more of that. And so now people are just really used to eating these large meals.
Yep.
I mean, I work in a Mediterranean restaurant, and trust, like, everything there is massive. Where anytime somebody gets a pasta dish, like, I already know you're gonna need a box because that shit ain't gonna all fit in you. And if it does, good luck with that tonight.
Somebody wants a gastric bypass at this point. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've
I
learned
think
some
there
really
is a bit of a
fascinating
science
stuff.
to that. The more we eat, the bigger our stomachs become, and then therefore it becomes more conditioned that you're now hungry all the time because there's more space to fill.
Correct.
Especially
So
if you
it's
had
a vicious
the parents
cycle.
that say you have to finish your plate.
Not just
You
that.
grow up that way.
They have
And it's because they grew up in a society which they struggled, right? Like people from the Depression didn't have a lot. You had finish what's on there because that's all we got today. And so that then translated to a point where we had more abundance, and people are like, oh, well, this is still a good rule. You need to finish what you got, but they keep giving them more and more and more. That's when we started to supersize everything.
Doesn't that seem like the epitome of the modern struggle, whatever it is, be it environment or food, or you can tack this on to anything. It's this adjustment to the way that we used to live, or excuse me, this adjustment from the way that we used to live to the way that we're living now. Like everything is so different. Even but the difference between my life and my mother's life is huge. And we can just leave the black stuff alone, but just in terms of like like grocery stores, butchers, what kind of food was available to you, like that kind of adjustment, like we're really in like a weird little time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something so controversial right now, but I don't know if it'll get
Do
people
it!
in the show in trouble.
Do it!
It's
Do it.
February 18. This is Kyber Cave After Dark. Do it.
Okay, so here it is, and again, I've been going down this health rabbit hole for over a year.
Right, this is good stuff. Sounds happening.
But
there we
in
go.
regards to what was just said, the food industry, I believe wholeheartedly, is in conjunction with the medical industry. The fatter we stay, the more meds we go on. Okay, so the more meds we go on, the more we rely upon the meds to allow us to consume more crap. Because in the beginning, when they told me, oh yeah, hey, guess what, Aaron? So we're going to put you on some metformin, and that's going to keep your blood sugar low. And I took that in the beginning as like, oh yeah, I can still eat chili dogs, woohoo! And there was no improvement. I didn't get any worse, but I didn't get any better. And as time went on and the lab numbers got worse, I was running out of options because I'm like, wait, I'm working out. Wait, I'm cutting out sodas. Wait, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But there was still no change in the overall diagnosis of having a A1C of 7.1. I was still diabetic. So when I began intermittent fasting, and no, I'm not telling people what to do here. When I began intermittent fasting and allowing my body to process what I was eating, then it started to kind of fall into place. And then going down more rabbit holes and learning about all the different diets, the keto, paleo, Mediterranean, like all that stuff. eventually I came to learn that carbs are the enemy. I mean, I hate to say it like that because many people think, oh, no. There's fruits that you can have, and there's this you can have, and there's that you can have. Well, truth be told, you've got to keep an eye on where it comes from. Is bread okay? Well, yeah, if you go to Italy where they make it completely from scratch with all natural products, yes, it's going to be fine for you. The Chinese, they eat rice. Well, of course they eat rice, and they're perfectly fine for it. Why? Because they don't eat it out of a freaking box. They grow it. They utilize it. They put themselves to work after it. They process it like in their bodies, and it's fine. They're fine. What do we have? Dude,
What
1 minute
I was going to
rice.
say, however, on that note, because it's absolutely true what you're saying, that the less processes are involved in making the food, the healthier it is for you. Absolutely. But
Correct.
culturally speaking, in both of those regions too, I know in Italy, if you go to Italy, people walk everywhere. They're not so used to being in the kind of like go get in your car. Like they might have a Vespa, they might have this, but people walk around a lot. They also take time to rest. And I think even you see that a lot in, in China and Japan and everything. A lot of those bigger cities and a lot of those cultures that have those, rice and pasta needs, they're moving around a lot. And we don't necessarily do that in America. We're pretty lax in the let me like sit here and eat something, because typically we're so exhausted from working all the goddamn time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to really get up and move around. Like I deal with chronic pain issues all the time, and it's so frustrating that people are like, well, you need to exercise. And it's like, okay, I just told you how my feet don't work enough for me to stand on them, and yet you're telling me to go out there and play basketball. Like, bear with me, I'm trying. I can stretch.
Exercise on your back, okay? It's okay.
Yeah, exercise on your back, because that's fun. That's a sport that I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
God, I miss martial arts.
And the other thing that was going on was that after chasing more stuff down rabbit holes, I come to find out that carbs do not satiate. Period.
No, they don't.
They don't. And everybody's heard the story. McDonald's fries, they've got a secret ingredient that makes you want more. Yes, it's called carbs, you freaking morons.
Yeah.
It's freaking carbs. If you sit there and you consume fries and fries and fries, and then you eat your burger and you eat more fries and you feel like you're still hungry for fries, well, of course you are, because you're not satiated. You put a couple burgers down, it's going to fill you up a little bit faster. But people don't realize that, and they damn for sure don't teach that anymore. As a matter of fact, they never have.
Well, and Van was just saying that the rice turns to sugar. Van, you're still muted.
Correct.
By the way. Yeah, we can't hear you. But he was just saying that it turns into sugar, and the same thing that with the fries. Like sugar is the most addictive thing that our body ever has.
Yes. And once you have it and you're craving it, it's going to crave more. Yeah. I will say this, and this is the final point I'm making on it. Is if you can go completely natural, like take me for example, I actually switched from keto because that threw me off back to just regular.
Get Ezra.
It's awful. Whole food,
Ezra.
like regular.
I miss Ezra.
Regular vegetables.
Go get him.
Salad with real chicken.
Yeah.
And it has. It's made a major difference, seriously. And at the beginning of the year, I beat diabetes. I got my A1C from 7.1 down to 5.6, and I beat it. Then I tried the keto thing, and it went back up to 6.3. So I made a dietary adjustment, but unfortunately, I had to get back on some meds. So this never ends for me. Like I just want to get down to a reasonable weight and have my lab numbers be good. But it's a cycle.
If you don't mind my asking, what is your weight?
Currently? What was it this morning? 241? Originally, when I started this, it was 303.
I'm like 220. How tall are you?
5'11".
Yeah, and I only got an inch on you. So it's crazy how that is. Because people tell me all the time, like, oh, you don't look like you're heavy. You don't look like you're heavy. And I'm like, well, in the gay community, I am. Like, I got what they call a dad bod.
Hey,
but at the same time, I don't think I'm ever really felt like I'm overweight. I just feel like society has that expectation. Like, you shouldn't have your pudge here or the double chin happening. So that I don't know. I've been trying to work more on my own stuff with all that regards, but I feel like I'm just a really vain bitch that does drag too. So
You and me, baby.
let me have my apple. Yum.
Gloria makes a really good point. What she says here, she says, interesting correlation between food and medicine and more diet options. I also think they use baby boomers to pave the way for more medications. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. And it will blow you the freak away when you find out how many current medical practitioners push, like, okay, type 2 diabetics. Okay, what can anybody here tell me what the problem with type 2 diabetics is? Anybody? What's the problem with type 2 diabetes? It's an overabundance of sugar. It's an overabundance of insulin. So why in the blazing blue hell would you pump more insulin into somebody who doesn't need insulin? And that's what we're doing.
Don't you need insulin for type 1 diabetes? Not type
Correct. 2? Absolutely right. Good call. With the type 2, you cut the sugars out. If the blood sugar comes down, the insulin levels come down. And once that starts to level out, your insulin sensitivity increases. If you're not sensitive to insulin and you're consuming Blizzard after wing, after double cheeseburger, after this and that, and you're not satiated and you continue to consume it, and point number 4, fall into the trap of, yo, bro, you got to eat every 2 hours. It's how we stay pumped. No, shut the freak up. That's not how you do it. If you don't give your body the opportunity to process what it takes in, you are going to fail. Because remember, when you fast, you're not only going through the food that you've eaten, you are breaking down old cells and disposing of them. When you eat something new, you're building new cells. If you don't give your body the time to do that, you are just taking in more new stuff and you're just building and building and building. And eventually, it's a mountain of crap. Rant over.
Well, okay, I think this does easily segue into what we're talking about, though. People who eat food out of the sheer pleasure, or people who have like coping mechanisms and addictions, or people who do it for the gains, because I think that the diet that you tend to eat, the one that's best for you, is different depending on what kind of body type you want, as well as what do you do on the day-to-day. So like what you put into you kind of reflects on that one, right? Like if you're trying to build muscle, you want a lot of protein. Like protein is what any big time gym person is going to tell you that's the thing that you need. Mm-hmm. Versus someone else who might be like, if you eat more raw vegetables or raw fruits, things that are natural that you easily break down, but smaller portions. Like if you have like a handful of trail mix versus going and getting like the double cheeseburger, like the trail mix is doing you a lot better in the long run, right? But then there's also people allergic to nuts. Like it's kind of weird how like no matter what, there's always going to be a situation where like that diet's not going to work for that person because XYZ reasons.
Yes.
But there are people like I like Phoenix was mentioning earlier about like being in a culture, in a family where food is a big factor. Mine was Italian. Italians are all about the big family gatherings. We always have like 5 to 10 appetizers. We always have food before the actual food, right?
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing that you see with a lot of other grandmas. Like, oh, here, have more. Here's leftovers. Here, eat it. Eat it. I made it for you with my love. Like, and it's very carb rich, very cheese rich.
Do you not
very
love me?
saucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. You cannot turn down your nonna's fucking lasagna. She'll smack you with that wooden spoon that she's had on her fucking pot all day. Like,
but you know what, Anthony? Here's the deal.
You make a very good point in terms of like, I made this for you with my love. Like in a lot of cultures, I can speak for my own. Like food is love. It's in particular when you come from a culture of struggle where there's not a lot to go around. So like, when I'm offering like proteins and carbs and whatnot that I likely scrabbled out of my garden and spent 4 or 5 hours cooking so that they would be tender and like palatable, like this is an act of service and it's an act of love. So when you grow up in these cultures, like, you know, nowadays I can go to Rayleigh's or whatever other grocery store and grab some chicken and put some flour on it and fry it up, and boom, I got fried chicken. No problem. You know, took me all of
I'm certain it's
2
more
hours.
seasoned than that.
I mean, yo, if you want my recipe, I can give it to you. You ain't got to.
I got a
do that.
barbecue sauce
Bring
one
it.
I'll trade with.
Bring it.
We can do that.
I come from an Irish Scottish background where everything is fried. And then to make it worse, on top of that, there's a heavy alcoholic culture behind it. So talk about like liquid carbs, liquid carbs that we're eating on top of the food, and you're in trouble. Like, you know, you just start to go like, I just drank my meal and then ate a meal, and then I feel guilty and I hurt and I'm confused.
One of the
So-
fun facts about alcohol even is that when you drink while you eat, your body focuses on processing the alcohol first because it's a poison.
Mhm.
And then it turns all of the rest of your food directly into fat.
Yep.
Doesn't even go and put it into to any good work.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about all of this is that once you so go to grandma's and have the lasagna. All right. My mom used to make the best cornbread I've ever had my entire life. It is okay to enjoy the things that are made with
Yes.
love. It's fine. But mentally prepare yourself for what you're gonna have. If you know you're going to overindulge, then make a plan, a follow-up plan to do something about it. Grab a couple family members and go on a long walk. Do a 16 to 18 hour fast following. Give your body the time to process through it. Our bodies are absolutely fascinating machines. We can eat surprisingly anything and process through it. So have your double cheeseburger, have your chili dog, have your lasagna, have your stuff, but don't go back to the
Don't do it every day.
Don't go back to the fridge 3 hours later and be like, oh, I still want some lasagna. No, you don't. You don't. Have it to make your grandma happy or your mom happy or whatever. Give her a big old hug and kiss, thank you, and then move on back to what you were, doing your regular life with. I mean, all these people who are, especially like the keto police. Oh, I had a piece of cake at the party and now I have to reset it. Shut up. No. Enjoy your life, enjoy your meal, and then go back to what you were doing. Sometimes a lot of these foods will shock your system into, okay, now you're going to lose weight a little more effectively. God, there's a whole rabbit hole, and I'm trying to go down it.
Cheat days. One thing I learned early
Well,
on.
you're
when I was
talking
doing,
with fuel. That's what you're saying. This is still part of this topic up here.
Sure,
Is
absolutely.
that you're talking about food as a fuel.
Yeah.
Well, all food is fuel. It just depends on what you do with the fuel. I mean, that's why we have so many varying tastes. To enjoy food is, you can do all three at the same time.
Ratatouille, the quote is, food is fuel. Yeah, but if you put junk in your tank, it's going to make you feel like shit.
Well, here's how you can do all three. Enjoy the fuel that you eat, and then find a way of coping with a way to digest it.
Well, I will say this. I think our lives, in particular our lives as Americans, have become a lot more sedentary. Like once upon a time, I was very, very, very active. And I could eat whatever the fuck I wanted to eat. But not only was it just a matter of like I could eat what I wanted to eat, I was in a place where I was more connected with my body. So like I didn't mistake hunger for thirst. I knew when I was thirsty as opposed to when I was hungry. If I got a craving for something, it was probably because I needed it at the time, I think the wheels of capitalism have sort of, fair warning, I'm a pinko commie, so like, sorry. But the wheels of capitalism have sort of like put us in a place where, again, like we're not particularly active. We don't have health care like as a function of just being a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And the health care that we do have is focused on, we have sick care. It's focused on curing disease and sickness as opposed to maintaining health. And like these are all tripods of the system that we're in.
Right. We are treating symptoms and not the core root problems. I guarantee you 78 to 80% of the issues are just nutrition. It's nutrition. You get people eating properly and moving around as they need to, you're not going to have a lot of these problems.
So here's the fun thing with that, though, with what Tony was just saying, this is definitely a byproduct of capitalism. And what is about capitalism? Making a lot of money.
Yep.
It is so much cheaper to buy the shitty foods because they can stay on the shelves longer than it is to get the good stuff for you. To get actual healthy food for you is like 3 times more expensive.
5.
And it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Like,
well, that's why you can buy a bottle of water for $2 and a can of soda for 75 cents to $1.
Right. And don't even get me started on the ramen and the Kraft macaroni and cheese. Because you get a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese for 99 cents, but if you look at the
that organic chicken breast is now $16 for 2.
Correct. And that's where they get you.
Look, man, you can come after Kraft all you want. You gotta leave my ramen alone, dog. You got I got a soft spot in my heart for ramen. You gotta leave it alone.
Hey, if I do have ramen, I like to zhuzh it up with a bunch of raw vegetables and some spices from my cabinet. I don't necessarily use that entire sauce packet or whatever the seasoning thing is because that thing's chock full of fucking sodium. But I do. I like to make sure I infuse it with something healthy-ish to go along with it. And then I don't necessarily always eat all the noodles. Good ramen's hard to find. The best I've had is in Japantown in San Francisco. Oh my God. Mwah. God, now I'm craving that. Thanks a lot.
There is a spot in Sacramento, now that I'm not there anymore, that I think about a lot on Broadway.
Tell me more.
Every Sunday. Oh, it's right on Broadway. So there's a bar on Broadway that is called the XO Lounge. So if you're going towards the XO Lounge and like right before you hit go, what's the spot? What's the spot of Mahogany?
You're still muted.
You're muted. I can't hear you.
It's a high-pitched scream. Go get the demon.
I don't even know where he is.
Go get him. Go find him.
It's my mutant powers at work again. God damn it.
So, there's an Ethiopian restaurant on Broadway. It's right before there. I think it's called Shoyu Ramen, but I would go there every Sunday.
Yeah.
And get like very, very good, authentic Japanese ramen. That was like my little Sunday tradition.
Do they make it spicy? Please tell me they make it spicy.
They have like several different broths. I liked the black broth, so that's not particularly spicy, but they do have that whitish broth that I can't remember the name of, and that one comes super spicy.
Oh no! Oh, it's a white one that's spicy.
Man, no. Ark.
What? Can you not hear me now?
I can hear you.
My pitch is still there.
I just think my dog next door can also hear you.
That's a problem.
I thought it was air conditioning.
Surprisingly, mine's totally fine next to me. She's like, I just want to be next to Daddy. It's okay.
I muted him again. That's right. I have muting powers.
And you haven't used them on me yet? What? Okay, so what are foods that everybody enjoys? Like, what is your guilty pleasure? Like, I love to have this, even though I know I probably shouldn't. But I'm gonna still eat it because I love it.
I went to a Mexican restaurant today, and we had nachos. They were so good. Because I mean, you can't go anywhere in California in Mexican restaurants. I don't know. It's nachos. I want nachos.
It's a thing. It's a thing. I get it.
Yeah.
There's a pizza place that I go to probably at least 2 or 3 times a week, and I always get ribs. I'm just such a sucker for ribs.
What pizza place has ribs? This is news to me.
It's
I know.
it's a real Italian pizza place. The guy's from Italy. It's right here in my hometown here, and yeah, they serve the best ribs
I don't know where
around
you
that I
live. Where do
know.
you live? I'm sorry.
I live in Castro Valley.
Okay.
It's down near like Hayward, Oakland area.
Yeah,
Half the time we have people from like the East Coast too. So I'm just like, wait, is this in Jersey?
No, it's not. The only person I know where they live at is actually Van and Phoenix. I don't know where the other where do you live, Anthony?
I'm from Lodi. I'm like right in the Central
Okay.
Valley. We actually produce 25% of the world's cherries somehow, and a shit ton of wine. We do more wine now than I guess France does, which is kind of weird. Like Lodi's trying to become the new Napa, but we don't have any hills. It's just flat.
I've gone to some of those wineries in Lodi. They're good. They're
No,
good.
they're pretty good. They're like, don't get me wrong. Like Michael David just went international. I carry some of their stuff at their at my restaurant that I work at. And fun enough, I have to show you guys this. I've been doing this new little art series based off of what I got my mom for her Mother's Day present. I painted her a painting, but I painted it with wine. And this is my current one that I'm working on.
Wow.
I love it.
And that's all
Can
painted
you
with
hold it
wine?
closer?
This is all wine.
I love
So
that.
this is a blend of what is it? I got the Prophecy wine series. It's their Cabernet, their Rosé, and then the red blend.
I like that.
I should do
Very-
that.
That's
Every
pretty
time,
Very gothic.
every time
I was
open
going
a-
for that.
every time I open a bottle of wine, I know I can't drink the whole darn thing by myself.
I can.
I know.
Wine is for friends.
I shouldn't.
I mean,
But-
maybe not in the same hour, but like throughout the course of a night, I could finish off a bottle of wine. That's 4 glasses. It's nothing.
Oh, like in the last few years, I feel like I'm a cheaper date than usual, where I just get wasted after 2 glasses and I'm done. I'm gone.
Oh no, we're bringing the credit card if you go out partying with me. It's like,
Oh,
10 shots later, I'm still good. Let's take another.
Anthony, I'm on your team. Let's do
oh, oh my god.
I do have rules now, though, when I go out to like a pub crawl with my friends, because again, I took that whole like pageant thing kind of serious. I cut out a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs. I was trying to lose my weight. And I noticed that if I go out with them,
Hang on.
I need to follow 2 very firm rules: eat a very full meal
it. There you go.
and have water like every 2 drinks. Otherwise, I'm not going to remember the end of the night. And it's never a good story the next day.
Ezra, I'm sending out the bat signal. Go find Van. He needs your help.
Me?
Ezra commented.
Oh. I miss you, Ezra, talking about Obi-Wan and his little beard. Oh,
No, you're correct. Like, that's beautiful. Did you use different wines for different colors, or?
yes. So that's the thing. When I got the cab, I figured that would be kind of more on the red side. And with the rosé, I was hoping to get a little bit of like a pinkish blush because those are the colors of the wine. Thing is, once it dries, it's completely different. It's kind of like blood, where once it would dry, like the cab. I'm sorry, that's very Johnny the Homicidal Maniac of me. I know the blood dries; it's a different color.
I work in the funeral home. I know exactly
But
what you're talking about.
part of it, like what I learned even from doing the first one for my mom, was that I wasn't getting like vibrant or deep or rich colors. And then I looked it up. And I had to actually cook the wine and reduce it down to get some of the water content out. So I have like 5 different cups of the same wine that I've like reduced down into different variants. So that way I can just keep layering on and layering on. It's almost like a watercolor. And then anytime I want to lighten something, I can take just like pure water and then, rub it on that to give it a bit more depth. It's almost like charcoals. It's like a mixture of watercolor and charcoal.
No, I really like that. I love the idea of like reducing the wine down to get a darker, richer color. Like that's dope. I like that.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank
can
you.
you hold the picture up again?
I did not come up with the concept. I actually saw it on TikTok, but I want to do a series of this and then try to get them put in a gallery here in town, because I see
That
some
is
of this
really cool.
they sell, and I'm just like, okay, I know I can paint better than that. Like,
Puts
trying to
my
not
artwork
get that
to shame.
glare from the
I
red
want
light.
to know. Do
It's
you
a very
always
Little Mermaid, but a little bit more raw, not as Disney.
Art, quit touching the thing, you're not on the show. I'm kicking you off.
Belle, I do not always paint with wine. This is my second painting I've ever done with wine. Normally I'm acrylics. I do a lot of acrylic stuff. Oh, I have one here on my wall. Hang on. This one's from a long time ago. So it's like, what, 07?
Is that a phoenix?
It is a phoenix.
I like that.
Oh!
We're very meta
That's
here.
badass.
Thank you. I think I have better ones than this, though. Hang on. I have a couple here. Well, welcome to the Anthony Allen Art Expose here at Kyber Cave. Today we have this wonderful lemon drop painting
That yes,
that has
Oh.
blended into my
Yes,
green
yes.
screen. There's like this shiny part here is actually glitter because I wanted it to look like sugar. And then hang on. I'll show you what I made for my husband. I have 3 paintings that I've done of Angelina Jolie. This is the smallest of them. And it's because he's a huge Angelina Jolie fan. So portraiture.
Oh, that is good.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
That's
Beautiful.
good.
Awesome.
So that's mainly what I specialize in is the acrylic side. The wine stuff is, I think, something that's kind of niche that would work really well in a town like Lodi. And it's just, can I make good money on it? I need sponsorship from Michael David, damn it.
Couldn't it just be great if we could just all go back in time and like, live in artist communes, and he's still touching things. I'm gonna get him.
Who?
Ark.
Oh. I was going to say, my cat just came up. I'm touching him, I swear.
I miss drawing. Like it's not often I get to pick anything up and draw anything, but I do miss it.
Well, and it's been a minute since I've gotten back into my art roots too, and that's why, like, after making that painting for my mom, she was just blown away with it. I was like, I need to do more of this. I need to make this part of my other outlet, not just the drag stuff. This is one of my healthier outlets for me too. That's why I'm always happy to be here every week, because it's good to be able to bullshit and like talk with people and kind of get stuff out off your chest. Sometimes it's like, I can't have this conversation in public without someone yelling at me, like.
Yeah, this is the last thing I did.
Let me see that.
Hang on.
Hello, Link.
That's-
Oh, okay. Go ahead,
Stop
Vinny.
touching things.
Come on,
Where's
where's it?
something else? I
There we
can't
go.
There it is.
Right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just colored pencil.
Nice.
Right on.
I
So,
like that.
I love.
Yeah, I
manual
wish I
stuff.
could draw. I can't draw a straight line, but
Well, I'm not very straight myself, so it's okay.
Okay.
Are we ready to jump topics?
On that happy note, let's jump
It
topics.
is after 10, so yes. Thank you,
Yeah,
Belle, for
yeah.
those nice words. I appreciate you.
Let me see. There we go. Toxic traits in communities. And that's a good seg, because we were talking about toxic traits and having a community of encouraging us to eat, right? And encouraging us to do bad things. Like I hate to throw my mom under the bus, but like tonight she tried to hand me that sugary tea. I was like, yeah, give me some tea. That sounds really good for dinner. She hands me like a glass of sugar, like powdered sugar tea. And she's like, here you go. And it's almost like halfway full. I was like, oh, disgusting. So, I mean, it's that kind of like to talk about, like, toxic traits. That is a thing. And many of the people that love us don't realize they're doing it, right? They're not, they don't really know that they're encouraging a bad behavior, a bad trait. But let's talk about some other toxic traits in communities. And let's see, who was the one that brought this up, by the way, because I'll let you lead it.
It might have been me. Was it? No, it's him. Okay. Yeah, you take the lead. Do it.
He did it.
Do it.
Okay.
So, as far as and I gotta be there are people in the Saber community watching this, so I've got to be stupidly careful with how I put this.
Okay, this show, I told you before, like in messages, this show is started. Van can back me up. I know he's listening. This show is started calling someone out. Their very first episode was calling someone out without naming names. So, I mean, have at it.
All right. So I think one of the worst possible things people can do in any community, seriously, is clout chase. I hate it. I hate clout chasing in these communities, and I'm gonna tell you why. 9 times out of 10, when you have a following of something, somebody in that community is making money. They're making money. It doesn't matter what the community is. Somebody is making money because they are contributing to said community. For example, let's say Star Trek. Okay, let's say Star Trek for as an example. Let's say you have a guy in the Star Trek community who makes these incredible communicator badges, right? They do the electronics, they machine them out, and they put them together, works with a team of guys, and they can sell them. And they make a really great amount of money because they're super accurate to the show, right? And then you've got a bunch of people who do it. All right. Now you've got 5, 6, 7 folks who do it. Okay. But the same 2 or 3 guys continue to get mentioned. And then these same 2 or 3 guys end up, well, at the top of the algorithm. And now you've got their toxic freaking fan base pushing out videos saying how wonderful and perfect and above everybody else they are. Now they're making the most money, which then is now ruining things for other members of said community. And then you've got a bunch of people who are now clout chasing because they're starting to make videos and make posts about how they follow these guys and they're their biggest fans and only buy from these guys, don't buy from anybody else, without saying the words don't buy from anybody else. And the more subs and follows that they get, and granted, Dave Chappelle actually brought this up in one of his routines, and I'll connect the dots for you. They're all in on it. They're all part of this circle jerk of clout chasing, because you got the really popular creators who have a bunch of subs, and then you have the YouTube guys who already have a crap ton of subs, so now they're friends over here and they're all accumulating followers, and then you got the reviewers down here who are saying go buy this and only buy this. Now they're getting all this stuff. It's a huge circle jerk of clout chasing. Mm-hmm. I hate it because it ruins things and it creates an unnecessary amount of drama. I'll finish on this. Sure, everybody cannot be at the top. There is talent that has to be recognized. Maybe the most popular folks that you're seeing, people say they're the best, but they're not really the best. I will say everybody who contributes, who provides a service, they do deserve a chance. Everybody, no matter how great or poor they are, has the right to be seen. If they are providing a service or a product in their community, they have a right to be seen, and they do not deserve to be buried under an algorithm, which is pretty much an agenda. Rant over. The end. Anthony seems to agree with me here.
No, seriously, you have no idea how much, like 99% of what you just said is exactly how it is with the drag community, where it was this thing that was like, new, and it started to grow, and like Drag Race became a thing, and all of these shows start popping up. Well, now you have this like power struggle thing going on, this dynamic where the people that are in control of the scene control who get to be in the scene. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of clout chasing, like what you were saying. I kind of glitched out. I don't know if you explained it, but for my take on it, people who are clout chasers are the ones that are like always posting things like just about how woke they are and just about how enlightened they are and just about how great, it is to support this cause or that cause. But that's literally all they do is the lip service of like, let me parrot the things that are really popular right now.
Anthony, if you've got a problem with me, just let me know. I'm joking.
And that's the thing. You see it so much, especially with like drag queens now. Like people on Drag Race do it, people in the drag community do it, and it's like I've never seen you actually do anything for other people. You're just using this to get people to like you, and then they like you, and then you're in control of this thing. Well, then you get to dictate what constitutes to be on that stage with you, right?
It's
So-
like those
like you were
people who
saying,
do
like-
reaction videos to reaction videos.
Well, yeah. So like everybody should have
What's
the
the
chance to grow
point?
and
I want
do
more subs.
bigger, better things, but they treat it like a competition rather than an inclusive environment where we all get to thrive. It's
Thank you.
This is my show, and I'm going to be at these other 5 shows, and the same 5 people are going to be at all of those shows. And like you said, it's a big fucking circle jerk.
Mhm.
Where I see the exact same people thrown into the same circles all the time.
Yep.
And those are the only ones. And I witnessed it firsthand. I've experienced it firsthand like twice now between Stockton and Sacramento. Both places I went out. I did drag. Someone gave me a show. And somewhere along the line, I'm viewed as the problematic one because I come out wearing a 15-foot wingspan made out of paper. Or because I do like a giant fucking headpiece that looks like Medusa. Or because I do something different rather than the same thing as the rest of everyone else does. And now I have to start again. And that's why I have my show in Lodi. Like literally I'm now in my little corner of the sky. That's the only show I'm really a part of. But I'm proud of it because it's my space to be creative. And I let every single person who wants to be in that space with me come through and be in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Mysterium Tremendum just had an episode about that. And we didn't really mean to do that because we did an episode about dolls and because dolls can be creepy, and we're a horror podcast, so but it turned into she talked about how there was a problem with people being mean about what kind of dolls you were or what kind of materials you're using to make the dolls, which it turned into a conversation about bullying, which is not right because some people have a right to just enjoy. And apparently there has to be one community that like you can make your dolls out of anything. And then another community where you have to get these specific materials to make the doll. And it's sort of like, why? Just let people be, let them have a life. So it's sort of
Well, then there would be the difference of I make my stuff with 100% organic materials that are specifically for dolls. You're using this byproduct, piece of shit plastic or something like that. That's the clout chasing side. We're like, I'm still better than you because I don't do this thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't that part of the whole toxic trait thing? That some groups of people will just try and dominate or other ones, or try and silence them because they don't feel like they're getting enough attention.
Yeah, I mean, look at religion. Does it all the fucking time, and they do it to each other. There are people who look down, like Christians that look down on Catholics versus the ones that look down on Presbyterians or against the Mormons or against Lutherans or the whatever. There's like 15 of them. I lose track. But it's like you're all still praying to the same God. You still have the same faith. So
are they though?
Why are you arguing about it? What's
really
different
like
interpretations of the same thing?
Well, there's definitely drama in lots of communities.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I think David touched on something like that. I think is pretty profound for like this conversation in particular. When you have marginalized communities that are like gatekeeping, enforcing boundaries or whatever, trying to
within themselves.
Sure. But whenever that little thing that's, just between us, La Cosa Nostra, like our thing, when our thing becomes everybody's thing, then gatekeeping is sort of a thing that people do to sort of to protect what they feel, is theirs. And I wonder if, since we're talking about like toxic traits in communities, I wonder if, because, I'm a poet, I'm a Black person, I'm an artist, like I'm a member of several of these like small communities that are not mainstream. And so when you grow up in an environment, when you're involved in an environment that is like toxic to you, do you have to like take on a little toxicity to survive your environment? And then when that environment begins bigger, becomes hegemonic, becomes like the thing, is there not a little bit of toxicity left over. You know what I mean? Like I'm sort of playing sympathy for the devil here for y'all, and I'm sorry.
I mean, we say in the drag community that reading is essential or fundamental. Excuse me. Reading is fundamental, and reading is a term that derives from shade and basically like telling jokes on each other, but kind of also with that big grain of truth. Like that's something that's viewed as very toxic, but also something that's very entertaining for us. It's like a part of the job almost.
I'm super familiar. We call that jonesing. Like I know it well.
And cosplayers.
My question to you is are you trying to advocate for an acceptable form of gatekeeping, whereas because you belong to a certain group, you can dictate who gets to enjoy aspects of that culture?
I don't think I'm advocating. I think I might just be standing up in my toxicity right now. I think I might be saying like,
I'm toxic and I'm here. Okay.
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand exactly what point you're coming from.
I think I'm merely just asking the question, like, is this a thing that is quasi necessary as communities go from marginalized to mainstream? Because for hip hop, let's just do hip hop, let's do rap. Like when that was a thing that was purely for one or two communities in one or two regions of the United States, the gatekeeping was necessary to keep people out of it that probably shouldn't have been there. I'm thinking, I don't know how old you guys are, but there was a hip hop artist called Snow who released a reggae
Informer.
Rap album. Yeah. And we thought for sure this guy was one of ours. And it turned out to be some weird fucking kid from nowhere. Of gatekeeping to maintain what the thing actually is not the same thing as the kind of gatekeeping that I see that stifles creativity. You know what I mean?
I have to ask you this though. So you just admitted that you liked the music until you learned what the artist looked like.
I mean, yeah.
You don't see that at all as superficial.
That is so complicated. I think, if I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you, you know what I mean? If I'm just gonna be 100% with you, and we're talking about toxicity and whatnot, I think in particular when it comes to Black spaces, there's a long tradition of non-Black folks adopting Black things to gain clout, to gain notoriety, and then later on shitting on those things once they've reached a certain level of whatever. And we can call that Al Jolson. We can call that Miley Cyrus. We can call that the Kardashians. I mean, I could keep going if you want me to, but there's a long tradition.
So the only reason I bring it up is because this is a conversation that happened with what started as what was a joke. It was a Facebook video about this naval base group singing a song, "The Circle of Life" from The Lion King, and it started this whole debate where this kid that was in the show with me was like, they have no right to sing that song because it should be African music. It should be, sung by a Black person, not a white woman. And for me, I was just kind of taken aback a little because I'm like, for me, music is the spirit of the soul. It's the language of the soul. Mm-hmm. I think that we should all love people's music and really live and learn to love other cultures' music. And to me, it's almost like, how would you feel if I said that Audra McDonald's not allowed to do opera because that's historically more white or
and
Germanic?
You're not Italian. How dare you?
That cultures should be open to share that experience. And if someone does good art, then there's no reason that they shouldn't succeed. If you're saying that just on the basis, because it's a white kid that isn't from the city, he has no right to sing these songs. If it's his art, if he wrote it, and if you like it, and if it vibes with you, then it's still speaking to you. I don't understand why that would make you upset.
One of
I
my
think-
favorite sayings is music was what feelings sound like.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of things I'm gonna address. Like, I'm gonna try to be quick. So, like,
Because
one in
I
particular-
definitely want to move on to a different community. So
Yeah.
but let's
yeah, I'm gonna be super fast.
yeah.
I'm gonna be super fast. I'm sorry. So, like, one in terms of like the Navy's whatever. Like, the Navy has always been like super kind to Black folks. Like, my father fought in World War II in the Navy. It was one of the few corps that allowed Black folks. So, like, I feel like that critique was probably a little off base and not grounded in a historical reality.
Well, not to
And
mention
then-
Elton John fucking wrote the thing. Like,
Right, exactly, and that's another thing. This isn't a Negro spiritual. This shit was written by Elton John. Like, that's like we have to keep like the historical basis of what's going on happening. And I just want to, like, in terms of like, so like we have a guy like Snow, Informer, and we have a guy like Eminem. Very few people question Eminem's authenticity.
Now.
Like, I think when you yes,
Now.
and it took a while, but I think you know the real deal when you see it.
Anyway, so
I trust people to know what's real and what's not most of the time.
well, let's move on to another community because cosplayers, we have a lot of cosplayers in this watching. Let's move on to talking about, because you guys can sound off. I call them Stitch bitches. And Anthony, you probably know what those are.
Stitch bitches?
Where Stitch bitches, yes.
I'm actually not aware of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what bitches are. I deal with them on a regular.
So if
Exactly.
there's, because our viewership suddenly cut like by 50%.
Oh,
Sorry guys,
sorry.
come on back. But so cosplayers, if you're still in the comments, sound off. If anyone has ever picked on you about your costume or the way that you dress, because Anthony, you brought up a good point earlier about dressing up and being picked on in general, whereas you know, and all your weight and about so whatnot. I call them Stitch bitches because I used to do reenactments, and I used to do like Civil War and all sorts of reenactment stuff going back into the 1700s. And you often get people that are like, you're not using the right material, or that stitch is like not correct for the period.
Your thread
And
count's wrong.
Yeah, your thread count's wrong. And you're sort of like, if you're close enough to inspect that, I'm gonna kick you. Like, get away from me. You know, I come correct and I look fun and good enough, and I'm having a good time. Like, leave me alone. I mean, has anyone else experienced that? Cosplayers, anyone who dresses up, let me know.
I mean, my general consensus when I've gone to cosplay conventions and dressed up, like, you know, it's 9 times out of 10 drag. The other 10 is always the Joker. But I've never had someone come up and critique me, but I've also never competed in anything. So, I mean, if you're just like walking around the convention space and someone comes up and decides to tell you this isn't correct, who the fuck asked you?
Yeah.
Like, go on with your day. Your attitude's ugly. Get the day that you deserve. I don't understand why that would ever happen. I haven't gone to a lot of conventions though. And again, people could tell that is a man in a dress. I don't think in the current culture climate that they'd be like, "Hey there, drag show. You're in the wrong gendered character, or you shouldn't be doing this because of reasons. If I show up as Cinderella, people are like, "Can I take a picture with you?" If I show up as the Joker, they want to take a picture with me. But if you are experiencing that, if there are people out there like that, like, again, unless you're judging like as a judge in an actual competition and that's your way of splitting hairs, like, no one asked you. It should be a non-issue. Let people do the art that they want to do because they're just there to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where do you? I'm curious. Where do you think that comes from? I mean, I know when when I found my little tribe, I was so happy to like be around people that were interested in the same kind of things that I was, that I didn't really care whatever else happened. I just was like, oh, I found these people.
I think it comes from, okay, this is a very strange concept for me to somewhat discuss, but it comes from this concept of people are one of four colors, and it is what drives them on a base level, kind of like the id. There is white, there is yellow, there is red, and there's blue. And people who are in the white sphere are usually people who are motivated by peace and keeping the things calm. There's people who are yellows who are all about the pleasure of it. They do it just because they like it. They like how that makes them feel. There's people who are blues who are run by their emotions. And then there's people who are reds who are basically driven by power. And once you get any sort of big enough community together, whatever it is, there's always going to be someone who seeks to gain the power, which then gives them the control to manipulate the people with the emotions, have the apathy of the people who are the whites that just want peace and don't really want to get involved, and basically push out the people that do it because they enjoy it, because they're the ones that are always going to be a threat to them.
And the funny thing
I
about
get the comment all the time, like, you're very intimidating, you're very threatening, you're very standoffish. And it's like, did you actually come talk to me? Because I'm pretty nice. Like, I like to think that anybody can come up and, oh, hi, how are you? Like, what's your name? So I don't know. It's interesting because I know I'm a yellow. I do things because it makes me feel good.
And it's funny, Anthony, you mentioned that, because you're going to find 9 times out of 10 with the Reds, they're all keyboard warriors. They have no fear to get on Facebook or whatever group and talk all that trash. But if you are in person, face to face with somebody,
oh yeah, they'll never.
Good
I don't
luck.
have a problem with you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Even though I know damn well
That's
you've been
backpedaling.
slandering my name and telling people, don't trust this bitch, don't let them in, don't let them. They're the ones that do that gatekeeping and are like, hey, you should really avoid this person because they're terrible. But then you ask that person, what did I do that was so terrible? Oh, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean. They
I
play
just want
down.
to say, I think you almost perfectly explained the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Uh-huh.
I think you kind of nailed
That
it.
show's very poignant. Everything is fine in bossing.
Say Wong said a few people ask me, doesn't this offend you, white person cosplaying an Asian character? I've actually I borrowed, it's funny, is I borrowed a costume and I dressed up, and nobody knows that it was me to this day, but I got harassed for it, which was who's the lady on The Mandalorian, because I borrowed the costume and like my helmet was down.
The
and
character Ming-Na plays, I can't remember her name.
Yeah. I'm terrible Star Wars fan right now.
Fennec
Chan, yeah.
Yes.
I played Fennec Chan, and I actually got harassed by a couple people who are like, "Oh, she's Asian. Like, there can't be a white person playing her." And it's like, go away. My helmet is down. Like, if there's a sheet over my head, or if there's like, who cares?
Why can't there be?
Yeah.
Like, we make this popular culture stuff for like everybody, and a lot of the times a lot of the characters are white, but if the character that you love isn't white, as long as you're not doing anything stupid like painting your face yellow or anything, like, fucking go off. Like, I would, I remember when Black Panther was like a thing, and I would see all these little white kids in Black Panther mask and claws. That shit fucking tickled my spirit. It really, like, I felt like wonderful about it, because I remember being a kid pretending to be fucking Peter Parker because he was like the one comic book character where you couldn't see him. Like, you couldn't see his, I could pretend that he was black. I could pretend that I was him.
Well, now we have Miles Morales, so I mean,
yeah, it's full circle, you know what I'm saying? But like, why can't I give? Like, I want, if those little white kids want to like inhabit that space, fucking good for them.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I'd say that's a huge trait right now that is toxic. Is the overdrawn identity politics is going just completely overboard.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll be honest. I was in MegaCon.
Even to the point to where you're not even allowed to talk about somebody else's group. Otherwise, you'll be labeled this, that, or the other. Yeah.
And isn't that what we're all about here? Having rational discussions like grown adults that don't blow up at each other.
I'll tell
Well,
you
that's how
what.
it should be. That's
If
how
I
it
said
should be.
something stupid today, you can tell me, Anthony, that was stupid for this reason, and then explain that, and then I'll probably
Anthony,
go, okay.
Anthony.
Huh.
I'm kidding.
I'll tell you what. It warmed my heart yesterday when I was at MegaCon to see a very large amount of Latino and Black Narutos. Like they were everywhere, and it was awesome. Like, so they pulled it off beautifully. And to me, skin color goes right out the door. You want to be that character, be that character, and be happy about it. Like so many people were having such a good time. I was so scared because I've never cosplayed my entire life because I've always been ashamed of my weight, and I lost all this weight, and I was kind of going into it feeling bad because I felt like I didn't lose enough weight to be Obi-Wan. And the amount of support that I got with people, oh, can I take a pic with you? Can I take a pic with you? I never expected it. It just they didn't care that I thought I was Fat Kenobi. They just wanted to take a picture with somebody in a costume, and that was amazing. I just MegaCon was incredible. I just got to say, and so many people, they just conquer their own fears, and they dress up how they want to dress up, and they do what they want to do, and they're so cool in person. So that was real neat to see.
Going back to the gatekeeping conversation just a little bit, I think that's really the thing that is so sad about that, because these are spaces for community, for kin, and you see each other, and like this, this is one of my people. So when you exercise in gatekeeping nonsense or authenticity, politics in these spaces in particular, it's so harmful, because all of us are, these are small communities that we're all just trying to inhabit and find our people. It's so sick. It's so insidious. You know what I mean? Well, at least that's the way I feel.
We're all just here to have fun, right? We want to find, like you said, find our people, because many of us were bullied as kids, and we're the freaks of wherever we've been a part of, and like we just want to find our people. We just want to be a part of something. And in fact, I was telling a friend today about I don't know if you have ever seen it, but Adam Savage has a terrific talk about why cons are so amazing, which is to say that you aren't you for a couple hours, but you are your character, and you walk the floor, and you get to be this amazing person that you. Anthony does it. Anthony does it for fun and makes money on it, and I hate you, bitch.
Makes money is a very, very cute accusation. I probably spend way more than I actually make. Because I'm always investing in new shit, because I want to make something new. I don't want, like, my rule of thumb is to not wear the same costume within 6 months at any given venue. And that's just because I don't want to come off as stale or boring or do the same thing all the time. Like, I'm always like, ooh, what else can I do? What's the new thing? What's the new project? What's the new mix?
Does your husband like shake with anger?
With the amount of crap we have in our house, yes. And then on top of that, I'm also paying my performers out of pocket at my show, so I normally break even. I really don't make money at it, and it was never the point for me to do drag to make money, which is what differentiates me from a lot of those people that I'm trying to call out and say those are the gatekeepers. Those are the ones that need the 7 gigs, so that's their job. Drag has never been my job. It's my hobby. It's something I do for fun. It's something I do for self-expression. So I do think that people who make the career out of it tend to be the ones that get to dictate who gets to have a career in this, regardless on how talented they may be or what they do or what they produce.
It's their control.
They need, and they like the control. Again, Reds are driven by control. So having people just do what they want, do that whim, that's going to give them what that is. I mean, I called out a bitch once saying, like, girl, you clearly micromanage everything. And she's like, I don't micromanage. I just like to have control of the situation. And I was like, literally popped up the definition of micromanaging. Yeah, still the same thing there. Still the same thing.
Called out.
I think there are people who manage their emotions, and then there are other people who attempt to manage other people to avoid their emotions.
Absolutely.
Like, it sucks.
I mean, and actually, do you guys want to try and see if Van can come off his timeout now? I put him in timeout. Come here,
Yeah,
Van.
let's bring him out the corner.
Bring him out the
God damn it!
I think I know what the problem is. I just don't know how to fix it. Is this
Nope.
Back in your corner. Go back to the kids'
Go
table.
back to the cornfield.
I'm gonna put him on timeout. I put him on timeout. Okay, so it's just I think it's a lot of just enjoying what you do, and if you enjoy it, like Anthony, and you don't care about not making money. Yeah, Van used the keyboard. Van used the keyboard apparently.
Well, and trust me, basically look at me as being foolish because I'm not there to make the money. They're just like, oh, so then why do you even bother? And it's like, well, because I get 6 minutes to tell a story and be a character I've wanted to play, or dress up for fun. Because like you just said, it's about the not being you for a few hours. There's something that's really, really healthy about needing that escape. It is therapeutic. Thank you. That is the word I was looking for. My husband just told me. There is something that's very needed in that. It's almost kind of like being that kid and playing imagination. Like this is the best way that we get to be a little bit of that again, and get some of that spirit going for us, which is something that sadly our world does not allow us to really enjoy as much as we could, because we have to work. We have to work all the time.
Yep.
That's the funny thing too, because I teach and I don't make a lot of money at it, but I teach what I love, which is I've been in movies and theater and acting and whatnot for 13 years. And it got to the point where it's like, it's just kind of time, I had amazing teachers, and it's time to like put their wisdom,
pass the torch.
Pass the torch, and give it to somebody else, because if it stays with me, it doesn't go anywhere. So and then it's worthless. It was worthless that they taught me, and our time was wasted. So I feel like passing the torch and giving it to the next generation for them to use and for them to make amazing things. I felt like it was just time, and they're like, well, you don't make a lot of money at it, and it's like, I don't care. I love this, and that's what it's all about. And they're like, well, you got to make more money at it, or it's not worth it. It is. I'm happy. If I'm at a job that I hate, I'm doing it wrong. And I know some people do. They work jobs that they hate because it makes money, but I don't want to die at 40.
No amount of money is worth your mental stability.
Yeah.
A lot of the jobs that do make a lot of money come at the cost of screwing over people left and right.
Yes.
There's not too many industries that you succeed without being a cutthroat fucking bitch about it. Like, I got to screw over Alex in accounting because I want the position. And we don't give enough to those professions that really should get more respect. I feel like, doctors, people in the medical industry, the ones not in the pharmaceutical companies, but the people who are actually the nurses and the staff that work at the hospitals, they don't get enough. Teachers absolutely should get more. They should have a little bit. They shouldn't have to be paying for their supplies, period. And then on top of that, like, again, having stricter enforcements on having good teachers versus bad teachers, because I've had some bad teachers, but most of my teachers were amazing, and they were people that were very passionate about what they do. I've thought about going into teaching. I would love nothing more than to be a drama teacher, but I also don't know if there's a market for me to do that. Like, because they cut so many of the arts out of schools these days. A lot of these outlets that are necessary. And again, that's why I feel so strongly about things like, music and whatnot. Like, if I was to be a theater teacher, I would always want to cast whoever's best at the part because they're best at the part and nothing else. So whatever leads come my way, if like a little boy wants to come and be Ursula in My Little Mermaid and kills that shit at Poor Unfortunate Souls, he's getting the part. Like that's going to be how that works for me. The day comes I become a teacher.
Honestly, I agree that Ursula should be drag anyway. Like, seriously.
It was optional when I did it. It was people were looking at me. I was like, no, I'm going for Eric.
Was she ever not?
I know, right? I know.
So I have a question for everybody.
Titan's sister.
Say again.
I said I have a question for everybody.
Yes.
If get back to the toxicity here, if
We're
we were
trying
to
to be positive.
if we were to remove all the cloud, if we were to remove the financial gain, the monetization from these hobbies and these groups and these communities, would they be better? Would they be better if the people, the cutthroat people who have the financial gain, and oh, this is how I make my green, and I make these costumes for all these cosplayers, and that's how I make my money, and that's it, and I'm the best, and nobody else can be the best. If we remove all of that, is it a better community? Is it a better community?
Not necessarily. I don't think it's quite as black and white as that is. We want people to be able to succeed in things, in passions and arts. Like there is the whole term of starving artists for a good goddamn reason. But I don't think it would be good to remove the ability for people to be fiscally sound with what they do. Like I would love nothing more than to get on Drag Race and become a internationally known queen and travel and do all those things. It's just about how do I get into that level. What we want is better regulation. It's kind of like what we see with like corporations and CEOs and all these other things with like environment and whatnot. We need better regulation to find the toxic traits and behaviors and say, hey, you have no reason to not include these people as part of your company or part of your process. If they have something to offer and it's clearly up to par with what else you have to offer, then you should definitely let them be a part of what you're doing without pushing back or feeling threatened by it.
Which is one of my original points. Everybody deserves at least their shot. Everybody deserves a chance. Not everybody can be at the top.
There needs to be a neutrality where people have the ability to succeed without something just saying, oh, well, you can't because of this bullshit reason.
Mm-hmm.
Or because I say so. Because I don't want the competition or the threat.
Right, or a particular group of individuals who continually push the same people over and over and over again to bury you under an algorithm.
Yes. I mean, I suck with the algorithms. I don't have more than 850 followers on Instagram. So I knew it. I wish I was an influencer. I wish I knew how to do that shit. I suck at it.
I'm going on my followers right now. How many followers do I have?
Everybody's checking their subs and follows.
I want to parry your question with another question. Is it that the profit motive in these communities is the problem? Or is it that, again, here I go, pinko commie that I am, the capitalistic system that we're in that forces people to monetize their hobbies and their side things? Is that the issue? Because, having the good fortune of coming from the spoken poetry world, like Go said, wasn't a huge, back when I was doing it, there wasn't a huge profit motive there. It was just a bunch of word nerds coming together, sharing our, word nerdiness. And it was, there was a lot of community and love and beauty there. And I don't know if it, because there wasn't a huge profit motive there, it wasn't a possibility. That never came into the equation. There was a fair amount of clout, I'll give you that. But when you're comparing clout versus money, that's not a fair, that's a fight that money wins every time. So clout was always the lesser evil. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But
was that posed to me or Fours?
Say again?
Was that to me or for him?
I guess for both of y'all.
Oh, okay.
Shameless plug.
I think the healthiest way to look at it, as far as communities are concerned, is essentially common interest. You're wanting to find people with common interest. Take my community, I'm like the Saber community. People are there to find, purchase, and experience sabers. That's what they want to do. That's what they're there for. The vast majority don't give a crap about who's bickering with who's recasting what, who makes the better sound, who does the better powder coating. No, all they care is, where can we get this? Can we turn it on? Does it go vroom vroom? And how cool is it? I mean, that's essentially it. It should be no more than that. But unfortunately, all this dramatic stuff that we've been talking about, it all exists in there, and that sucks. You know, and people who there are, and to me, there are members and there are servicemen and women. Now, me, I make fonts. I am a service person to this community, but it's still a hobby. All right, I don't need fonts to pay my bills. My bills get paid on my regular job. I love what I do, and I still believe that other creators who do what I do deserve a fair shake. They deserve an opportunity to be heard. Not everybody's going to be at the top.
I think that this is a case of art versus enterprise. And the sad truth of the matter is, I agree with Tony, the capitalism part is a big X factor. And it's because people that come from money, that have access to money, typically do better in these things because they have access to money. There's plenty of people that I know have started small businesses here in my own hometown that, like, you know, grew up with me, but they also had a family that owned a winery that had a bunch of properties and has income to send them to college, or has the income to sign on with them for the start of their small business so it becomes successful. Those kinds of doors and options aren't necessarily as available to me readily because I don't come from money, have the capital to back it up. And same thing with drag. You see, with like even the pageant I did, I could definitely tell that I was outgunned as soon as I saw these bitches with their wigs walk in, because I'm sure each and every one of those was like $400. I didn't have that to spend on that. I made my big masterpiece out of fucking paper because it's cheap and readily available, and I manipulated that, but it wasn't enough to win me that competition.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I was watching this TikTok. I've been watching this TikTok creator, and he keeps talking about all the artists that we think came from nothing. He keeps exposing that, like, most of these people, you know, your Taylor Swifts, your Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy, like these are people who come from money, and so they could afford to be a quote unquote starving artist for a couple of years because they weren't starving. You know, they could devote all of their energy to, you know, becoming the best artist that they could be to getting to the top, because material concerns weren't a concern. And again, you know, if we didn't have to worry so much about maintaining our life forces just as human beings, you know, how much stronger would our creative communities be?
That is a big problem too, is access to money and access to resources. And it's sort of like, even being in film for all these years, like, you realize all the things that you have to have. And it's funny because I've taught I've even taught a class about surviving film school on a budget, because you have to have the best this and the best that, and like some of the technology you have to buy to survive and create these amazing things are, you know, in the thousands. And then it's not just one thing, it's 50 things, and each one is more expensive than the other. And it's sort of like, you kind of go, you know, when does Star Trek start? You know, so that we have this technology that we don't have to like pay for anything anymore, and you know, it's a everything's free kind of world. And you're judged on the amount of money that you spend on everything, whether you're a cosplayer, you're a filmmaker, you're anything. You're especially creative. Have you ever noticed it's the creative world that you have to spend the most money, or you're not ahead, which is funny because we're supposed to be the broke ones, the starving artists.
Yeah,
which is entirely not fair.
It's not fair, but that's the reality, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a world where everything was free. Where would the incentive be to create?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, but we also
feel like pure enjoyment. It would be down to the pure enjoyment, the enjoyment of doing it, and the enjoyment of seeing others lighting up because they appreciate what you've done. That would be the incentive.
Well,
Well, yeah, but wouldn't that be limited to a smaller category of people?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Because in general, that's not really human nature, though, is it?
well, I mean, they back in the day they had artists who had benefactors, and if someone supported you, they would pay for your art and pay for your living while you went on and painted or created or did sculptures or whatever. And anyone want to be my benefactor? I'm happy to.
Well, then that's your incentive right there. Then you'd be chartered to do something, whether it be a family portrait or a mural on the inside of a church or something like that.
Well,
I mean, that was still your incentive was the means to sustain yourself.
we call them sponsors now, though. A lot of cosplayers, a lot of people use sponsors. Podcasters use sponsors. So I mean, I guess the world hasn't really changed; it's just moved.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Yeah, but how much better would the art be though if only the people who really cared about it were involved in it? Because no one
Oh, it
needed
would
to
definitely
do
be
it.
better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the communities would be smaller, absolutely, but they might be better for being smaller, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it'd be better because then you wouldn't be competing against a whole bunch of garbage either. I mean, let's face it. There's too many people doing the same thing these days, and I think it cuts down on the quality of what those things are because there's
YouTube videos.
there you go right there.
Well, I think that ties back into his point about cloud chasing. A lot of cloud chasing is coming from the profit motive. Like, I have to do this thing because this is what gets the attention, and the attention gets me the eyes, and the eyes give me the advertising dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You remove that.
There's also something to be said about people who start to do well and make money, that those that already have been making that money then look at and go, oh no, you can't take from my cut, and they push them out.
Absolutely.
I've seen that.
Yeah, that artificial feeling of artificial scarcity. You know what I mean? Like that thing right there.
Amazon does it all the time. That's why he's like the richest man on the fucking planet.
Yeah, let's just burn it all down.
This thing's sold out. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking to you on a very expensive webcam, and I'm talking to you on a very expensive microphone, and I'm talking to you on a very expensive mixer right now, and those things I had to.
Yeah, you don't want to see what's in front of me.
Yeah. We can see it. I'm hiding mine today. But
I'm on a decently priced computer I got from Best Buy, which is why my internet connection sucks.
Gosh, I'm using.
And here I am on an iPhone and earbuds.
But
I think what we can take from this evening, in terms of the toxic trait, many of it, or lots of them, derive from the need or desire for monetization, for money to get paid. I mean, it's almost the whole root of all evil.
The root of all evil, for sure.
And access.
I mean, money makes the world go around, but we don't invest or appreciate the things that people create for the love of creating it. We do it for what financial gain we can make off of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times things do get bastardized, or like you take something because it's good and then you put it in the hands of somebody who has the money to then just give it to somebody who's terrible at it, but they're financed enough that that's the mainstream, and so we get terrible content. There's plenty of independent film artists that are awesome, but we don't get to see enough of those because we have to have the Hollywood machine.
Access.
And if the right YouTubers talking about it, then up they go.
Hey, that's what Netflix is for.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Netflix is so hit and miss.
I had a
I've seen some pretty good shows on Netflix. The best Netflix shows are definitely low budget, but they got a great storyline. They beat out, I think, half of the Hollywood movies where they spent millions and millions on these great special effects and have a really shitty story.
Yeah, well, and that's what it's all about, is telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I had a fan message me tonight about, I want to do what you do. How do I do? And I gave a very canned, and if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I gave a very canned answer about just do it. But that's not just it. We all know that's not it. That's someone gave us a chance, and now people know who we are because somebody gave us a chance, and we learned, and we are all trained in some way to do what we do because someone took us by the hand once. And it's a really sad reality that somebody gave us something at one point, whether it was a chance or a tool or something of some sort.
Was that a canned answer, or like was that the honest answer? Like I
Yeah.
remember starting out as when I first started out as a spoken word artist before I got relatively well known. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just was writing poems in my room because I wanted to write poems. And then I got the nerve to read one once, and then I read another one, and then someone told me about another place, and I kept that sort of like process of like just get out there and do it, and then the continual like refination of your skill set. That's a necessary process you have to go through as a creative. So I think you kept it 100 with her. Like, hey, get out there and do it. You'll figure it out. Like, that's the way it works.
Just do. But I mean, I wouldn't be here if Van hadn't given me a chance, right? Ark, I know you're listening. He's nodding. He's waving. Yeah, I got. Yeah, wave.
Poor
Wave,
Van.
Ark. Wake.
I know.
Trapped at the kids' table because his mic.
He's on timeout. He's on timeout.
We need to do a GoFundMe for a brand new mic for him.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be here if Van hadn't given me a chance, or even given any of us a chance to be on his show. So, I mean, it's all about a series of things that happened at the same time as having an access. Uh-oh. What's happening?
I don't know. I thought I heard something about chimpanzees. I'm not sure.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, sorry, Say Wong. I had to put.
It might be that Matt Damon moment because I can't hear anything at this point at all. Just
I'm letting him out of his cabinet for a minute. So yeah, he's allowed to wave. before we end the show. Yeah, we've silenced him. He's not allowed to talk.
Poor Van.
Oh, hi, Anthony. There we go. So yeah, I think, like you said, we can sum this up with money and access and chances and a bunch of really lucky starts. I think. Can we agree with that one?
Equity has power.
Mm-hmm.
I think on that note, it is getting close to 11. My internet clearly sucks. So I'm gonna get ready to just say goodbye, y'all. This was lovely. Invigorating conversations. I'm sorry I dropped the viewership. I'm sure that was me.
Yeah, we went from like
I'm
10
positive it was me.
to
Don't
4.
worry about it.
And I don't know if you saw your messages.
Blame it on Rubik's.
I was like, steer away.
It's like, hey, Rubik's, shut the fuck up. That is my catchphrase for a good reason. Definitely hope to be back next week. I should be. I think I will, but
Anthony's
I'll
fired.
let you know. Other than that, thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Good talk. Mwah.
Take care.
Go ahead,
Bye,
Van,
everyone.
and push the button. You're allowed. Bye, guys. Oh, ow. No. End the show. We're letting him end the show. Do your